What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 32 of The Rise of a Nation, here with FC Edmonton in the Canadian Premier League. We're back, and if you missed last episode, don't wait for me to go any further. You know what I'm going to say. Go watch it. The biggest episode of the series so far. Two of the best matches of the series so far in a two-legged special. And, well, based on the assumption you've watched it, you know what happened. We're back now. Our stadium isn't a square anymore. We were able to resize it. And we're kicking off the Canadian Premier League season with a home game in El Clasico against our rivals Cavalry. What a fitting start to a new era for FC Edmonton at the Edmonton Stadium. I couldn't ask for anything else. Of course, last time you were here, it was the start of March. Since then, we've done a little bit in the transfer window, although not a great deal in truth. On the outs, a lot of players getting loaned out. Two players of note, really. Carducci, who we got on a free transfer from Cavalry. We've just loaned him out for the year. Was going to be third choice keeper. Didn't fancy being third choice. Absolutely fine. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a fee for him, but his wages are being covered in their entirety. And the other players, I guess there's two actually of note. Opare has left us. We sold him to Chicago Sting. Not a massive sum of money for him, but we brought him in on a free transfer. He did okay for us. Last year, he featured in the team a lot less than previous years. And yeah, in the end, we just let him go for £20,000. Not a lot of money, really. Probably could have got more in hindsight. The only other loan of note is the fact that Jermaine Ballo has gone on loan to Swope Park. Just an opportunity for him to get some regular first-team football. Probably would have preferred to loan him to another team in Canada to help with the citizenship scenario. And, well, hopefully, helping him get Canadian citizenship a little bit quicker. But it didn't work out, so we've got him loaned out. His wages are being covered. Can't ask for a lot more than that. Two players we've signed on the ins. Louis Chapa has joined us from a Mexican side in the second division, I want to say. Corey Caminos, we'll go with that. He's only played one senior game for them, but he's already been in the Mexico national team at youth level, although he hasn't actually been called up. He looks like a very, very good ball-winning midfielder, though. He isn't the best in the air, which is maybe a little bit of a concern. The other player we signed, a international, Denis Oblak, has joined us. He is a Slovenian international. I don't think I've ever had a Slovenian player before in a Football Manager save. We've signed him from Maribor, which is a team that I'm sure a few of you are familiar with. He looks pretty good. He's 18 years old. Right now he sits in our under-21s. If it wasn't for the foreign player restrictions, I probably would get him registered and have him featured. But we have got a little bit of a situation at the moment when it comes to the foreign player limits in the league. So those are the deals that have gone through. We've got two that are in the process of being done. The first one is Georgi Demetradze. That's definitely not how you say his name, but he's a Georgian international at 17. His birthday's coming up fairly soon. It's in July, so it's a little way away. I'm still waiting on the scouts to come back and tell me how good he is, but I've pulled the trigger on this deal. I'm just going to do it because I feel like at £50,000, it's just a deal that had to be done. There were teams interested in him. We've moved in, and he looks pretty good, at least at first glance. Watch him now be injury prone. But no, he looks like one for the future, certainly, at the centre-back position. The other player we're looking to maybe sign is Balu Tabla to play right midfield. He is a former Barcelona youngster, plays for Bilbao's B team in the second division. We're trying to loan him, and we'd only be paying about, I think, 20% of his wages a week, so not all of his wages, and not even close. He'd fall very much in line with our current team. The right mid position is still a midfield position that we've not really solved a great deal since we lost Ruiz. Of course, we did voluntarily lose Ruiz, but we have lost him. He's still on loan at Lyon until the end of this year. I would kind of like to try and renew his loan for another year with another £3.5 million worth of money being sent our way. Of course, he did sign a new contract not that long ago. And well, you might have noticed from the additions that we made both last episode and this year, in this episode, that we are a little high on the foreign players at the moment. Of course, you are allowed 7 in your team, in your senior squad. We're kind of battling with that a little bit. Both Solomon and Jose Hernandez not registered. Jose Hernandez, one of the new additions to the team. The only reason for not really registering him is the fact that we have a lot of other centre mids, but this guy is so good. I'd kind of like to get him registered at the first possible opportunity. And Solomon is a centre-back who, to be honest, we just have better centre-back options than now. We are looking to maybe move him on. He wants to be sold. It's kind of a deal that makes sense for everyone. When you actually look at our centre-back options here, Solomon, he's just not worthy of a foreign player spot. And I know that sounds super harsh, But of course, we signed, last episode, you saw Martin Amuz, who's a very, very good partially Canadian centre-back, and also Rocco Romeo, who's another player who's partially Canadian. Both of these players are actually born in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. And with these kind of players, like, they're just better backups. You know, there's not a great deal of difference between them and Solomon. Solomon's a little bit older as well and on slightly higher wages in the case of Amuz. So, yeah, I should probably just move him to the under-21s, to be honest, and just be done with him, which feels a little harsh to do. So that leaves us with Jose Hernandez, which would be a concern, except from the fact that Nick Daly is in the process of getting his paperwork done, which is great news. And Karata is also in the progress of getting his paperwork done. His paperwork started a little later. You can see it only actually started 3 days ago. The transfer window and the registration window closes in, well, 2 or 3 days' time. It's going to be right up to the wire. You might remember we had a similar situation to this a few years ago with Danny Lovitz when we signed him and he didn't get his Canadian citizenship through straight away. But as soon as either Nick Daly or Karata gets Canadian citizenship, you can be sure that Jose Hernandez will be registered. And, well, if we do register him, if I'm not mistaken, that'll take us to 23 players in our first team squad, which will pretty much be a team. As I said, the right midfielder position is still an area that I'm a teeny tiny bit concerned about, but besides that, I'm very, very happy with the team that we've got at our disposal this year. It's a young team. A lot of the experience in our team is players who are more backup options, which isn't the worst thing in the world. What we've got here in front of us is what I consider to be our best team, with the exception of Nick Daly, who isn't starting today. He is currently out with food poisoning, but he's probably going to be on the bench and we can chance him. But yeah, the rest of our team here is kind of what I consider our full-strength team. I still feel like Kevin Williams is probably on the verge of replacing James Connor. Or Connor James, even, not James Connor. But you could see here the difference between them. I just really value the shot stopping. It's a glaring weakness in Kevin Williams' game, and he hasn't improved a great deal, Kevin Williams, since he joined us. Don't get me wrong, he is an absolutely terrific player, but I don't know, Connor James for me is the better goalkeeper, whereas perhaps Williams is a more complete athlete in terms of his physicals. But yeah, Connor James is going to start in goal for us. Kevin Williams has been out with a little bit of an injury anyway, so he's only just passed a fitness test. At left centre-back to start things, we're going to go with ABZ. For me, signing of the year last year, he was absolutely top draw for us. We obviously have Oyamada, who comes in, right centre-back. Still concerned about his lack of consistency, but we're going to look past that for now. In the kind of centre ball-playing defender role, I guess, on cover, we have Liam Fraser here, who... he does have a few weaknesses in his game. Definitely a position we could potentially see an upgrade in. Obviously, we have Lucelio, who for me is probably one of our best centre-back options. If we just compare him with Oyamada, you can see here, Oyamada kind of has him pipped, but just due to the mentals. You can definitely expect to see Lucello feature a lot this year. With us playing 3 centre-backs, it's inevitable that if we, have 1 or 2 injuries, we're going to have to change things up in the centre-back position. I really like this guy though. Either-footed, professional. Yeah, one for the future, and he has improved a lot during the pre-season. Of course, we signed him, just as a reminder, last episode for £20,000. Man, between him and ABZ, we've got some real value in the market at centre-back. £33,000 for the pair of them. Born in midfielder, despite him getting sent off last episode, we are going to stick with Nicholas Acevedo. Please don't be bad for us today. Don't do it. We've got plenty of other options. You could play that more defensive midfielder role. Rocco Romeo, for example, could come in. Mora could easily drop in deeper, and then Mosavat could come in. A little bit of cool news is that Mosavat got his first ever Canadian national team cap. If we just look at the senior team here for the men's kind of national team, you can see here Hamilton, Deshays and Mosavat all featuring on the bench, which is good news. Lots of Canadian players at Edmonton shining, and between them I think we can expect big things in the coming years. Obviously, speaking of Canadian internationals, we have Kevin Deshays playing the advanced playmaker role. He has kind of dislodged Alex Marshall, who was previously kind of just nailed on in this position. Deshays has improved a lot this year. I feel like when we actually compare them as advanced playmakers on attack, there isn't a great deal of difference between them, but for me personally, I think Deshays just edges it out, just slightly, but to be honest, you can expect to see these guys playing very frequent minutes. Out in the wide areas, Karata at right mid. Yes, I talked about right midfield being a position where I wouldn't mind adding in a player. Of course, as you guys saw from our squad registration situation, it would mean unregistering another player. There has been a few players kicking up a fuss about leaving. One of them has been Mark Anthony Kay, who, to be honest, he hasn't done anything. I'm aware that he's been very, very good in real life, but for us here, he's just been constantly on the decline. There are a few teams potentially interested in signing him. I wouldn't be against moving him on. You can see current ability of 2 stars, potential ability of 2 stars. We have a lot of centre mids. So maybe if he was to move on, that then opens up the opportunity for a right midfielder like Tabler to come in. But yeah, Karata out on the right. We're going to go with Bill out on the left. He was a real breakthrough star last year. The year before last, he was on loan at York 9. He did okay there. Year just gone, 7 goals, 7 assists, a 7.52 average rating. He really kind of seized the opportunities at left mid, and I feel like between him and Elson Leon, we've got 2 very, very exciting prospects out in the left mid position. Anyway, up top, we're going to go with Hamilton as the pressing forward, with Nick Daly on the bench for today's game due to his food poisoning, and St Duck is going to come in and obviously play as the advanced forward. Just a little bit of news, I am currently training Duck to maybe play right midfield. I say maybe, I am training him to play there. I don't know how quickly he's going to pick up that position. I'm hoping he can take to it similarly to Karata. But the thing is, St Duck does not have the best finishing, and his crossing could maybe be a little bit better. But he has the athleticism and technical ability of a really talented winger, and given our lack of players there, I feel like he's a real natural fit that could really work nicely. And due to the 23-man squad limit, having versatile players like St Duck, if he could play right midfield, would be pretty invaluable to us. Anyway, on the bench, we've got Lucelio, Rocco Romeo, who we already talked about, Caden Chung, also worth a spot on the bench. He is our only real backup option at right mid in the first team. Elson Leon, we talked about him just a second ago, but I think it's worth just mentioning him again. Of course, we signed him from Victoria's Academy. Last year he made a few appearances, if I'm not mistaken, for the reserve team, but he was pretty solid for us. This year, I anticipate him to surpass Lovitz to play left mid position for us. Worth remembering as well, he is partially Canadian. He was partially Canadian before he joined us. He had, I guess, Canadian parents. We'll make up a backstory for him. But then, yeah, we'll keep an eye on him. He'll play football this year, and I think he can develop quite a lot. Mosavat, Marshall, and Nick Daly round off the bench. You can see the rest of the team here. We've obviously got Vim here, who I really, really like as a 4th choice striker. Again, partially Canadian. He's had that since the very beginning when we signed him from TSS's Academy. He's obviously had a few different loaning out spells. Last year, he did feature in the first team more predominantly. He's a very, very talented forward, and at 20, still got room to improve. Jose Hernandez, not registered yet. I want to get this guy registered. I'm hoping that Nick Daly's going to get his citizenship done in the next 3 days, although that might be cutting it fine. We've talked about Anthony Kay. David Norman, a similar player in a lot of ways to Kay, a player we brought in, former MLS player, a bit of a punt really, has declined ever since he joined the club. I like him as a backup player, and obviously the fact he's Canadian is a nice bonus, but the fact that he hasn't really advanced as a player, and he's actually got slowly worse, is a teeny bit concerning, I guess. Obviously, Lovitz, we know him. He's a familiar face at this point. Martin Amuz, he's joined us. I think he'll feature a fair amount. He joined us from Danubio. We'll go with it. Danubio. Everyone knows that Uruguayan side. Not the best in the air, but a very, very talented centre-back, and of course, partially Canadian, which was the big reason for signing him. Bogdanovic, another young Canadian centre-back. This guy I really want to give football to develop. And of course, rounding up our kind of squad for this year, we have Kevin Williams. So plenty of familiar faces there. I appreciate when you look at the starting 11, there aren't a load of Canadian flags on show. It's of course worth remembering Adam Bill is part Canadian. Karata will be, although I guess you could argue he's been nurtured into a Canadian citizen. Obviously, you've got Liam Fraser. Oyamada is part Canadian as well. And then on the bench, you've got Romeo, who's part Canadian, Chung, who's Canadian, Elson Leon, who's part Canadian, Mosavat, who is Canadian, Nick Daly will be part Canadian, Alex Marshall will be part Canadian. We're getting to the point now where there are fewer and fewer, obviously, non-Canadian players in our team, but that's because a few of them are taking up Canadian citizenship. I am very conscious of the fact I want to have more Canadians in my first team. But it is tricky because the best Canadian players, you might have noticed from the men's team, honestly, the best Canadian young players are just too much. They're worth too much. They cost too much. You know, I'm looking at players like Marino here, who I might still try and sign and approach to sign, although he's not interested at the moment. He currently plays in Portugal. Even players like Julian Dunn, he was playing for Pittsburgh. I wanted to sign him. He goes to Nantes. Suddenly he's on £11,000 a week and he's completely out of our financial budgets. Our total wage spend, you can see here, is 50. Actually, our total wage spend is 40,000. Our wage budget is 56,000. We are way under budget. We still have £1.6 million in the transfer budget. Don't intend to spend that. Obviously, with all the loan money coming in for players, our finances are at the best they've ever been. 3.4 million in the bank. Going to be interesting to see how this year our increased stadium capacity impacts money as well. I anticipate us to make a decent amount of money off that. Of course, a loan was taken out to get the stadium done. We are currently paying £100,000 per month, so about £1.2 million a year. Obviously, right now the loans are covering that. I'm pretty confident that with the stadium now built, we'll comfortably be able to cover that with the increased gate receipts. Usually Football Manager works out the maths behind the loans. We could probably take a look after this game and have a look at the kind of money that our gate receipts are kind of bringing in. But compared to last year where we had a stadium half the size, you can sure as hell expect us to have more money in the bank this year and hopefully a bit more cash flow that isn't just coming from loanings out. But anyway, let's get into this. It's El Clasico. We're taking on Cavalry. They've got Brown and Bitar up top. A few regens in their team. They've got Henry Zuma, who, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, he did. He played for TSS. I had my eyes on him once upon a time. He looks very, very solid. At right midfield, we have Norbert Skanger as well. He looks very good. Let's get a scout report on him. He looks like a really good winger, damn. He was from the Whitecaps Academy. Cavalry picked him up the year before last. They're playing quite a defensive formation, so that's, I guess, worth noting. Alan Zebi at left back, a familiar name as well. Of course, this is our first league game in our new stadium, so we want to get off to win, especially against our big rivals. Very keen to see us, I guess, fill the stadium. I have no idea how close we're going to come to filling the 11,000 seats that we have here at the club. I guess that we'll find out. It's a bit of a venture, I guess, into the unknown. I genuinely have no idea exactly how many fans we're going to have. It looks pretty full just at first glance here. I would like to think that we'll comfortably get, 8,000 plus fans a year. We play really attractive football, obviously a prolonged period of success as well. Yeah, I mean, we should have the glory supporters on our side, shouldn't we, of Canada? Anyway, let's see how we can get on here. 27 minutes gone. We've not had a highlight yet, although it's wide here with Karata. His cross is blocked. It falls to Brown at the back, who tries to play his way out of trouble, but straight to Deshays. He has the ball. Tries to put it wide. Skanger reads it. Liam Fraser, no nonsense there by him. Building it again here. Adam Bill whips it to the back post to Karatu, takes it down, tries to put it in himself. It's blocked away here. I mean, it's forward and backwards here. We're having a lot of the ball. Can we make something of it? Karata wins the ball high up the pitch. Ace Vado inside to Deshays, edge the box, charges inside and smashes it home. The hometown hero gets the first goal of the year and the first league goal in the stadium. Ace Vado with the assist. I talked about, obviously, Deshays and Mossavat both breaking into the Canadian national team. Worth noting, Mossavat this year is vice-captain behind Nick Daly. I made the decision to replace Liam Fraser, who was previous vice-captain, with the youngster. Mossavat, definitely a player who I see as a long-term captain here at FC Edmonton. He's only 18 years old, already a fantastic leader. And yeah, I feel like it makes sense to make him vice, to build him up. But, well, at half-time, it's only 1-0, which might sound almost a little bit negative. We've been completely on top, 65% of the ball. But I'd like to see us break through a little bit more. Let's just enjoy the stadium a little bit. It does look really sold out, doesn't it? We have a nice stadium. I like this stadium. It's a bit better than our old one. It's a bit of an upgrade, I'm not going to lie. Anyway, let's get into the second half here. Options on the bench if we want to make them. Of course, we are without star player Nick Daly, our captain. Unfortunately, sidelined with food poisoning. I probably could chance him if I needed to, which is why he's on the bench. But I decided it wasn't worth risking him with a start. We don't want him puking on the sideline, do we? Let's be honest. ABC on a booking scares me. I'm going to bring in Lucelio for his debut. We'll see how he gets on. The young Brazilian. Bit of pressure on his shoulders, maybe. I'm going to bring in Mossavat for Mora. And Hamilton's not had the best game here. So you know what? We'll bring in Nick Daly and see what he can do. He might be food poisoned, but I feel like he can do a job for us still. Anyway, Adam Bill out on the left, whips it in, back post to Kurata, who, well, is going to have Canadian citizenship, although it's in the progress and process of being applied for. And it will give him it now. Just give him the citizenship now, because with balls like that, he's going to be a major part of our first team. He puts in the ball. St. Duck gets the goal. Can we discuss this? This is a really nice goal. Over to Konata, who is wearing the number 7. Also, I'm sorry to not show the goal, I've made an effort with squad numbers this year. They're not perfect. They're never going to be perfect. But I hope you note the fact that Duck and Daly, that they have numbers 9 and 10. So for all of you people who are very, very anal about, well, the squad numbers being absolutely correct, I hope you're happy now. I've taken you guys into consideration today because I'm a nice guy. Anyway, there's not a lot of time left here. We've been by far and away the better team. I'm just going to tell the players to go a bit more attacking just to end things off here. But what a fantastic way to kick off the new season. A win against our big rivals here. Not the most classic of games, I guess you'd say. I would have liked a few more, but a clean sheet looks on the cards. And a very, very comfortable win. And, well, after a long off-season, it's nice to get back. Even after the North American Champions League, it's been 2 months since we played Colorado. It's a long time without competitive football. And, well, we'll hope that this year we can continue much in the vein of the last couple of years and really dominate Canadian football. In terms of live episodes this year, I don't think I'm going to do as many of the North American League games as you guys experienced last season. We kind of hammered most of the teams we came up against and we ended up winning it quite comfortably. Of course, as we reach the latter stages of it, or if we, struggling in a first leg, then I might come back and do the second leg as an episode. But for the most part, I feel like the league is actually where we're going to have more competitive matches. In a small way, Ace Vado has made up for his previous disaster. A loan offer for Tabla has been accepted, which is good news. But yes, Ace Vado, he got sent off last episode. He's got man of the match there. Maybe we can forgive him slightly. Let's just have a look. So 10,956 fans in attendance. I'm pretty sure that is a sellout. I mean, that's good. Can we ask for a bigger stadium yet? That is a sellout, so that's really, really great news. I wish that we could insert the attendance column on the match screen here, but we can't. I guess I could insert it here just so you guys can keep an eye on it as we go through future episodes, just kind of what kind of attendances we're attracting in. But yes, great to have a sellout. Actually, more fans attending the game against Cavalry than the previous game against Colorado, which I'm not entirely sure what to make of that, really. Clearly, the FC Edmonton fans value much more beating their local rivals than beating some MLS team in continental competition. And I really can't knock those priorities. Anyway, record attendance is broken. This is why I hit continue, because I just wanted to have a look at this. So record attendance, we've beaten the previous record. We already knew that was going to be a thing. There's loads of news items here that we don't really care about. I'm just curious if we just look at income and gate receipts. So we've made £148,000 this month. Now, I know we had some loans at home, so I don't know how they actually impact this. But so far this season, including last month, it says, which obviously was March, which is when we played Colorado, we're already up to £500,000 made in gate receipts, which, well, last year we only had £1.3 million. So a big difference there already. We'll keep a close eye and see how those numbers differ come the end of the season. But, well, at least at first glance, it looks pretty positive going forward, doesn't it? Anyway, in terms of when we will be back, I'm not entirely sure. We might come back for one of the games against Halifax. They will be towards the tail end of the spring season. I feel like we'll just kind of play things and see how we get on. Of course, the Canadian season is always a little bit odd and a little bit different to plan around when it comes to episodes. So we'll leave it as a little bit of a surprise. But, well, let me know what you make of our squad. As I said, I would like to get in a few more Canadian players, but the sad reality is that the ones that would really add quality to my team just aren't. Well, they're not realistic transfers, and a lot of the best young Canadians are either already playing in our reserve team here, or alternatively, they play for MLS sides where the realistic truth and the fact of the matter is I just can't sign them from the likes of Toronto, Vancouver. I just don't have the reputation or the pulling power to do that. But anyway, that's going to wrap up everything from me today. Let me know what you make of our squad and how it's shaping up. Not too crazy in the transfer market, I don't feel like. Obviously, our finances look great. I mean, a stadium expansion doesn't seem that unrealistic at this point, with the money that's left over from all the loans. I guess the concern is that at the moment, a lot of our positive cash flow is coming in from various loans that we agreed last year. Are they going to be loans that we can renew next year, or are we going to suddenly struggle to loan out a load of players and then be left massively short of this income that we've slowly become reliant upon over the last couple of seasons? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But no, that is everything for now. Hope you've enjoyed this start to Season 5. I'll see you guys again soon. It is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.